Hey folks, this is video number 4 of how to maximize the heat from your wood stove. So we talked about how important this is for all of us folks who use wood stoves. It is the primary source of heat in our house. And if we can find little tips to be able to help us to actually maximize that heat, that can make life a lot more comfortable for us. It could make our wives a lot happier, and it could make our bill a lot lower. So if you watch the first 3 tips, I think you'll get some valuable, just very practical considerations on how to either move air faster through the house, to how to understand the airflow in your house, how to prevent airflow in the house if that's what you're looking to do. And in this last video, the 4 of 4, we're actually going to talk about moving concentrated heat away from your wood stove. That's tip number 4, how to move that heat. Well, I actually did a little experiment and I measured the heat on top of the wood stove coming out, and it was actually 110 to 115 degrees. That heat coming out from the top, 110 degree heat coming out from the top. And what's really interesting is that, of course, that's going to happen naturally, right? Wood stoves are going to have a natural movement where the cold air comes underneath and then the hot air comes behind it and back over. Well, in my home, and many of you may have this, I think it's the same no matter what, doesn't matter, but in my home, this is actually a fireplace behind it, so there's probably a good 25 to 30 inches of space behind this wood stove. But even if it wasn't there, and it was just more in the middle of a room and you had 25-inch behind, what is happening is a lot of heat generated behind this wood stove. A lot of heat is coming out behind this wood stove, and that heat is stagnant. That heat is sometimes just sitting there, or if it's coming out, it's just happening very, very slowly. So if we can help that heat to actually enter into our homes faster, and we can actually take that heat that's sitting there and around the pipes behind the stove and just around the stove, if we can take that heat and we can move it faster, we can actually heat our homes faster. We can just be more efficient. So I'm going to show you 2 different mechanical ways to do that. So naturally it's going to happen anyway. So if you do nothing, you're actually doing a good job because you got your wood stove on and you got your heat, and the heat is naturally moving through the house. But if we can encourage that heat to move faster, why not? So let me show you one way that I did this, and this is the way that I did my first year when I started using a wood stove. Around 3 years ago I bought this, and probably many of you have one of these. And this is just a fan that goes on top of the wood stove. It uses no electricity, and basically what it has a circuit where there's a heat element behind it, and the heat actually it powers up the motor unit, and this fan is actually turning with no heat. Okay, so many of you who have wood stoves, you're kind of saying, oh, you know, duh, we know this already. So apologize if it's kind of repetition here, but for someone that's new that doesn't have one of these, it's a really cheap, inexpensive way. I think these fans cost me between $20 and $30. And interestingly, I bought this one first, and then when I was reading more on the internet, I realized that this little unit right here, which is a lot smaller, actually moves about triple the amount of air. This here, and again, if you're interested, let me know, and I'm happy to put on the YouTube, on the site below, on the chat, I can put what model number it is, because I got that from Amazon. I'm happy to share that. But basically, this here puts about 3 times the amount of air, and I can feel that air even out to about here. This fan here, I feel a little bit here. Once I get about here, I can't feel it anymore. So I think it's for some reason it's just not as strong, and it doesn't feel as hot. This here is really pulling that heat out from behind. So I would say one of these units right here would be a minimal way that you can actually take heat from behind your wood stove and quickly push it into the house.